Welcome back everyone, this is Teresa's Crafty Cabana. I'm doing a jelly print today with a pretty simple technique, especially if you're new to jelly printing and you just want to have some kind of simple ideas of things you can do or use to make your impressions. So all I'm doing is I'm taking a piece of copy paper, printer paper, and I'm just drawing some kind of like wavy lines. Nothing too precise, and kind of leaving some gaps and just kind of changing up the wave just a little bit. And then I've got my scissors. These are the decorative edge scissors. I've got a variety of them. So I'm just going to come in with each of my different scissors and just kind of follow the line that I drew and roughly kind of cut out that design out of each of these little lines that I made. And then we'll have our kind of like our templates or stencils ready to go for our jelly printing. So basically here I'm just showing you which of the scissors that I used. They make these in all kinds of shapes and sizes. They also have these at Dollar Tree. I think I got these way back a long time ago in my scrapbooking days. But I do know that they sell them at Dollar Tree now, and of course Walmart and online, Amazon. So I've got quite a collection of them by now, so I thought this was a good way to kind of use those. I also have my golden fluid acrylics. I got some on sale recently at Michael's. They had some the primary cyan and the manganese, and I think also the iron oxide was a sale item. So I wanted to kind of try those out, and I combined them with some of the other blues that I already had. I'm going to use my 8x10 gel press gel plate. I'm using this size because I have those 8.5x11 templates or stencils that I made. I'm going in with my phthalo blue red shade first. This is one of the darker blue colors, but it is a transparent color. And so as I layer these down, you will see some of the layers that I build up behind them, but because they're all blue, they'll all kind of blend together nicely. I'm only focusing on this top area, and I'm pulling in one of my stencils here and just kind of pressing along the edge. I'm not pressing all the way up to the edge, just close to it or close enough, and I'm kind of pressing into the gel plate to try to get that to remove the paint along the decorative edge. There was a little bit of paint left over kind of below where my template was, but I just went ahead and left that because again, I'm working with all blues, so it's not really going to matter. I'm using some well-loved bubble wrap that I've used for multiple prints, and this one I like because of the size of these bubbles. They're kind of close together, and they do a pretty decent job at removing the circles, so I like how that one looks. Next I'm going to use my cyan blue, which is just a little bit lighter than the phthalo blue. And again, just using my 2-inch brayer and trying to focus on not getting any bigger than maybe about my 2 inches. I don't mind if I go into the blue above it because that's dry completely. So you do want to make sure each layer dries completely before you move on to the next. And I do put a design in each of these layers. So first I put down my decorative edge stencil. And you can make these as close together or far apart as you want. That's the nice thing. You can also kind of angle them a little bit one way or the other to kind of change up how they look. So you can get a lot of good use out of these paper stencils just by how you use them and what colors you're using. That will make a big difference too. So I'm going in with, this is just an embossed piece of cardstock with this kind of like a type font. I love this one because it just has a really cool mixture of alphabet characters. I let that dry. Now I'm coming in with the manganese. This one is a very light blue. It doesn't look like it when you first drop it down, but as you go, this one's transparent, and it does seem to be a very nice light color, almost like a sky blue. So these two colors, the cyan and the manganese, this is the first time I'm trying them out. So I didn't really know what color to expect, like how bright or dark the colors would be. And I really like these colors. They're really nice together. The thing that got me inspired to try this technique is I know my husband really loves blues, and I wanted to try to put the different blues down without kind of putting them all down at the same time. And I thought, how can I kind of mix up the blues and the textures? So that's what I thought this idea would be a good one to try out with different colors. I think this would also be fun to try with maybe some holiday colors. So maybe like the blues and the silvers with some snowflakes and some snowmen, or something like that would be pretty cool, or trees. Also, if you did like the red and green and silver or gold, I think that would be really cool, and then you could turn those into like ornaments or something. But yeah, there's a lot of different varieties you can use with this technique that I think is really fun, and I may try that actually. So this is my turquoise color. It's actually quite dark compared to those other two, and I did kind of put down too much, so you definitely want to put down just a little bit, just so you have enough to move in that area without kind of over spreading it, because you want to be able to remove it with your stencil. I'm just going to put my next one down. This one's kind of skinny, so when they're skinny it doesn't cover up as much, so you just have to be careful. So this time I went in with my 2-inch brayer around the edge. You can see I was starting to pull some of that blue to the bottom, but when your paint is still just slightly wet, if you keep brayering it, it will just pick it right back up. So that's what I did. I just kept brayering it and kind of rolling onto the stencil, try to get the blue removed from that area. For the design on this one, I get asked about this a lot. This is actually it's a mosaic, or like a glass. If you have glass paints and you're making a design, this is used where you kind of are supposed to spread your glass paint onto this thing, this plastic thing, and then you let it dry. I'll link it in the description, but I love using it as a texture because it just looks like, I guess it's called shattered glass or something like that, and that's what it looks like to me, a mosaic or shattered glass. This next color is another new one for me, and it's really pretty, the iron oxide color. This is actually a very kind of like shimmery or sparkly color that I wasn't even expecting until I started opening it up, and I realized this has a lot of shine to it, which is really nice and unexpected. It's almost a brown, but it's also kind of a in the metallic family, so I don't know, it's a very neat color, and I really like it, especially with these blues, to kind of break up all of the blue that I had going on. So this was a nice addition. For the curvy shape on this one, this is going to be my last one that I'll use, and then my next color will just kind of finish out how many colors I'm putting on this print. But like I said, if you want a few more colors to add, you can always make them closer together, and then you have a little more room to add some more. So doing the same thing, removing some of that extra paint on the bottom and just kind of pressing it in. And when you do this part, just press into the gel plate and it kind of already presses down the design. I wasn't even really that concerned if the design didn't pull up all the way. I just thought it was a nice little subtle detail. I'm using this, I guess these are like ferns or leaves, I don't know. These are really pretty. My friend Kim gave me these embossed card pieces, and I think that this one's really cool. It's a 3D embossing folder that she used, and you can use either side, and they have a little bit of a different look to them depending on what side you use. My last color is another phthalo blue, the green shade, and then I'll come in and just blend this out. I put a little bit more down here because there is a lot more of the gel plate left. And again, I'm just trying to be careful to not completely overlap on the color before it, only because I knew I was going to use gold over the back side and I wanted the gold to show through the layers. So if I had completely covered each of them with the color underneath, you really wouldn't see the gold through on the other side. So that's why I'm doing that. I do think it would look neat too if you kind of, each layer that you did, you fill in the layer beforehand with that color. So that would be another variety that you could use to try this technique. I have this neat mesh, like it's a metal mesh that I got again in my scrapbooking days. I don't know why I need metal mesh, but it came with the scrapbooking kit and I've been using it a lot on my gel plate and I love how it looks. So we'll go in with the iridescent gold, and I have to do enough of the gold to cover the whole background. So just keep that in mind. And metallics tend to dry a little bit faster than your regular paints. This is a fluid acrylic, so it kind of flows a little bit more than, say, the craft metallic paints. I'm going to be using my Nina White cardstock, 110 pound. I wanted a thicker paper for this one. I do plan to use this for maybe cards, I think. And these do well for die cutting. When I use my copy paper, those tend to do much better for making envelopes or anything that's going to be folded. In my last few videos, I was doing some folded ornaments, and the craft or the thinner paper works much better for those. So this one, I let it dry for about 10 minutes before I removed this. It probably could have used a little bit more. There were a couple of areas that didn't pull up, but for the most part, I got it all up on this pull. And I think the colors turned out so pretty. They work so well together. My husband looked at it and he said, it looks like a beach. It looks like waves, and it does. So with the little sand bar maybe in there, but I think it turned out really nice. It could look completely different if you use different colors or different textures inside. So I hope you enjoyed this simple technique, and give it a try and let me know if you would try this one, or if what you would use for your designs or colors that you think would look good. I'll probably try this technique again. I think I want to do some of those holiday ones, so we'll see. And I hope you enjoyed watching, and in the meantime, happy crafting, y'all. See you in the next video.